Welcome aboard the new Normandy, Commander.
I've been looking over the dossiers. I'd strongly recommend starting by acquiring Mordin Solus, the Solarian professor on Omega. We know the Collectors use some type of advanced technology to immobilize their victims. We'll need him to develop a countermeasure to protect us.
And without that countermeasure, we'll be helpless if we ever run into the Collectors.
Acquiring Professor Solus seems like the most logical place to start.
Who are you?
I am the Normandy's artificial intelligence. The crew like to refer to me as Edie.
Helmsmen aren't happy when someone takes control of a ship away from them. Especially Joker.
I do not helm the ship. Mr. Moreau's talents will not go to waste. During combat, I operate the electronic warfare and cyber warfare suites. Beyond that, I cannot interface with the ship's systems. I observe and offer analysis and advice. Nothing more.
I'm guessing it takes more than just the three of us plus Joker to fly this ship?
The Normandy has a full crew. They're at their stations awaiting your orders.
Final preparations for takeoff are complete, Commander. When you're ready to go, just pick a destination from the galaxy map and the CIC and I'll plot a course.
Jacob and I should return to our posts. Come find us if you have any questions.
Galaxy Map. Use the Galaxy Map to pick new destinations for the Normandy. Private Terminal. Use your private terminals to get status updates on your squad. Armory. Select weapons for your squad from the armory. Elevator. Use the elevator to access Normandy's other decks. God, I made that sound really suspicious, didn't I? Other decks. Captain's quarters. Go to your personal cabin to customize your appearance. Tech Lab. Acquire the Professor to research upgrades for your squad's equipment. So that'd be like the upgrades we just got on Freedom's Progress. As you can see, our goal at the moment is assemble a team.
Welcome aboard, Commander.
We have a lot of options, but the game pushes you, as you can see from everything people keep saying, game pushes you pretty hard to go for Mordin Solus first. Once you've got Mordin Solus, you can research upgrades. You can technically go almost the entire game without doing him, because I'll talk about exactly how the game is structured soon. But you can avoid getting anyone for a long time. But the game strongly presses that you do that so that you can have the research upgrade option, because you'll pick out. I've mentioned this before. I do a lot of hand gestures when I talk, even on recording, and I slapped my desk with my right hand while I was gesturing. So yeah, as I was saying, the game strongly recommends you get Mordin first, and we will be doing that in two episodes time. For now, we're going to spend this episode and next episode, to some extent, getting to know the Normandy's crew, and having a chat with those we already know.
Can you believe this, Commander? It's my baby! Better than new. It fits me like a glove! And leather seats! Military may set the hardware standard, but on a first-gen frigate, they could care less if the seats breathe. Civilian sector comfort by design.
The reproduction is not intended to be perfect, Mr. Moreau. Seamless improvements were made.
And there's the downside. I liked the Normandy when she was beautiful and quiet. Now she's got this thing I don't want to talk about. It's like ship cancer.
That's not the same, Joker. There's nothing here that was even part of the real Normandy.
There's us. I have to take what I can get. The last 2 years sucked. You'll see. Even if an AI is spying on us, no way they'll invest this much just to screw us over. It'll be better than the old days.
I hope so. I died.
Yeah, you are such a downer.
I talked about this a lot in Mass Effect 1. I love Joker. And boy, does he only improve with age. He's like a fine wine. He's so good in this game. So yeah, one of the big differences is the Normandy's twice the size of the old one in terms of both the actual exterior of the ship and the amount of interior parts you can explore. One final thing I kind of want to bring attention to before we talk to more Normandy people is interrupts. You saw one very briefly during the scene with Vitor, where it said press LT to do a Paragon interrupt, and we used our Omni tool to turn all the screens off. Interrupts are during a scene, you can intervene sometimes. It's not a dialogue option, it's just a quick, you can do an action. There are two types: Paragon interrupts, which are done with the left trigger, and Renegade interrupts, which are done with the right trigger. If you don't do the Paragon interrupt at that point with Vitor, eventually the option for a Renegade interrupt comes up. And this is what that looks like.
No escape. No hope. Can't hide forever. Monsters will find you. Swarms will find you.
Listen, Vitor. I didn't come to this godforsaken colony to listen to you babble. Snap out of it!
Swarms coming. Storm coming. Storm of swarms. Mechs will protect.
And that brings me on to flashbacks. That is something I will be doing whenever some serious choices are made in this game. I will show the immediate aftermath of if you had made the other choice. So that is, when you have a binary choice, what happens if you do the other thing, and if you have an interrupt that I don't take. Generally I will tend towards taking Paragon interrupts and tend towards not taking Renegade interrupts. Situation dependent. But I will show all the options that I didn't, either immediately there and then, usually a little later in the episode, or definitely I'll show them all at the end of the episode. I won't always go down every plot thread, because at this point things start getting real complicated, and things have knock-on consequences. I'll always talk about them, but like, say, the decision to send Vitor back to the migrant fleet rather than taking him to Cerberus, that won't have an impact until, what, 30 episodes from now, or something crazy like that? So I ain't exactly going to set up 20 save files and play them all half the way through the bloody game just to show all the different options, but I will talk about them, don't worry. And whenever I show the flashbacks, they'll have that kind of crazy graphical effect, so you know it's definitely a flashback to what didn't happen, just so you don't get confused as to what the actual true, in inverted commas, series of events was. Now, here we have a new addition to the Normandy crew who looks kind of weirdly like us. In fairness, you can do that. You can absolutely design your Shepard to look like any NPC in the game because they're all made with the same engine. It's really funny if you go through Mass Effect 1 looking exactly like Captain Anderson or something like that. Multiple Keith Davids in the game. Anyway, this is Yeoman Chambers. I thought for ages that Yeoman was her first name, because I didn't speak to her much during my first playthrough. Turns out it's a rank. It's a rank in the Royal Navy, perhaps in other countries' navies as well, I don't know, which is, I think, a Master of Signals, or one who's involved in signalling and communication and that kind of thing. Or is that an ensign? I don't know, is what it comes down to. But anyway, let's talk to her.
I'm Yeoman Kelly Chambers. I've been assigned as your administrative assistant. I'll manage your messages and help you monitor the crew. And I must say, it's such an honor to work under you, Commander Shepard.
I'm glad to have you on the team, Miss Chambers.
Please, call me Kelly.
Okay, Kelly.
Anything else?
Do you have a moment to talk?
I always have time for you, Commander.
What are your responsibilities?
I'll keep you notified of any messages or appointments you might have. If any of the crew has important business to discuss, I'll make sure you know.
Isn't that the type of task better suited for a VI?
Yes, but being your yeoman is just my official role. Unofficially, I observe the crew. Everyone knows how risky our mission is. Many of us may not be coming back. That's a lot of pressure. I have a degree in psychology. I'm good at sensing when people are overly taxed.
You make sure the crew's mental health is sound.
Yes. I look for warning signs. I listen. It's not a full-time job, and it's most effective when done informally.
We're lucky to have someone with your skills, Kelly.
Thank you, Shepard. What else would you like to know?
I better go.
Okay. Maybe we'll talk later.
So yeah, that's Kelly, who's kind of a point of first contact for you for a lot of stuff. Like, she will give you a shout when anything's going on. She's not saying it now, but if I leave an approach, she'll probably say you have a new message at your private terminal. We actually have about 20, I think. Maybe I have to go a bit further away. She mentioned it briefly, as in Shepard mentioned it actually, but so we should talk about this point, the difference between an AI and a VI, because that does become relevant to this game. A VI is a virtual interface, which is basically, so, for example, with real-world computers, you talk about a GUI or a GUI, which is a graphical user interface, which is how you interact with any program on a personal computer, that kind of thing. In Mass Effect, a lot of the time that's a VI, which is a interface with a program that you can talk to, so it manifests with a kind of avatar, and you speak to it saying like, oh, tell me what the weather's going to be like. Siri, for example, or Cortana, or Alexa would all count as VIs, technically. That is very different to the role of an AI in Mass Effect. AIs are fairly rare, because I believe research in AI is banned in the after the whole Quarian Geth thing, which I'll talk about more when that becomes relevant, just to kind of remind you of it. AI development is kind of generally banned in the Mass Effect universe, and ED, our ship's AI, is an example of a true AI. So that is an important distinction, which will become even more important as we go on. Kelly's not saying it, but usually she'd say, you have new messages at your private terminal, Commander. And this is our private terminal. So we can check how our team's doing, we can review any upgrades we've researched, we can look at tutorial videos and unread messages, and we have a lot of them. These three are all various types of DLC. I was actually installed some DLC to prove a point myself, which I've proved. Basically, my account on my Xbox, so I have 2 accounts on my Xbox. Well, I have like 30, because I have various people over the year, but my account is an offline account, and I wanted to see, as in it's never been registered to Xbox Live, and I wanted to see if I could buy DLC with my online account and still have it work for my offline account. And it does work, which is great, because there's a lot of DLC in this game, a lot of which is really fucking good, and I really want to do it. So there's 2 which are really for important note. Firstly, from Councillor Anderson, I'll try and do my best Keith David voice. On the off chance that the rumours are true, and you're actually alive, I need you to come to me on the Citadel. A lot has changed during the last 2 years. You put me on the council, and it's only fair that you are allowed to speak to yourself. You be allowed to speak to yourself about what we've been hearing. That wasn't great. I mirrored Councillor Anderson's speech patterns, but can't really do the Keith David voice because I'm not Keith David, unfortunately. And secondly, we have a message from Admiral Hackett. Commander Shepard, our scans in the Armada system have turned up something you ought to see, the final location of the wreckage of the SSV Normandy. We thought this news would be of importance to you, but we also have an ulterior motive. The Alliance would like to honour the Normandy with a monument to be built on the site of the ship's final resting place. We'd like to invite you to place the monument and be the first to walk on the site. There are still 20 crew members unaccounted for from the attack on the Normandy. If you find any signs of these lost crewmen, we ask that you report to the Alliance so that these heroes' families might find some closure. Godspeed to you, Commander. Boy, the longer any of my American accents go on, the greater the kind of tendency towards Texan, and that really happened there. But that's a mission we'll actually be doing in the second half of this episode. No, that's a lie. We'll be doing it... I thought I was on a different episode. We will absolutely be doing that next episode because we're already going to be past the 20 minutes mark. So, I'm going to finish with one conversation with a squad mate, which is Jacob.
Commander, there hasn't been time to really settle in and take stock. I want to say that working with you is a great opportunity to do something that matters. It's a privilege to serve on the Normandy, Commander.
You may change your tune if we end up like the original Normandy.
Maybe. As long as the elusive man walks his talk, and you do the same, I'll do my best to make sure we succeed. That's been the condition for my service so far. I have issues with certain actions Cerberus has taken in the past.
What has Cerberus done to make you nervous?
A lot. They've been called terrorists, and with good reason. Doubt you can find a more checkered past. But if the Collector threat is real, and we do something about it, Cerberus will be remembered differently. Or we'll all be tried and executed. Can't count on people thinking about it as hard as I have.
It's good to hear a clear opinion. Sounds like we're 2 of a kind.
That honors me more than you, Commander. Let me know if you need anything.
So that's interesting. I like of the 2 Cerberus characters you have, Miranda and Jacob at this point. They are very different, and their outlooks are very different. And next episode we will talk a little bit to Miranda because she is a very, very different character to Jacob. As ever with Mass Effect, characters tend to be really well fleshed out. It's something I really appreciate with these games. The other thing, I was just thinking of this now, one of the things I really appreciate, because I've got, on my computer screen to the right, I've got up my audio trace, and there's huge sections of blank where it's conversation going on. And God, after doing something on the scale of Paper Mario, that is relaxing. Because whenever it's a cutscene, and whenever it's a dialogue scene or anything like that, I can basically sit back, as long as I've got my list of what, like, dialogue options I'm going to take. Other than that, I don't have to do anything. It's great. Because, like, Paper Mario was draining because it'd be like a load of action and gameplay and all that kind of stuff. Then we go into a cutscene, and then it's like, I put the controller down almost, except for pressing A occasionally. But then I got to think in a different way. So I'm not thinking in terms of gameplay, but I'm thinking in terms of voices and getting everything read out and stuff like that. Whereas that's pretty rare in this game. So it's kind of nice. That it means I do get more downtime on this, which hopefully means this series will be able to air a lot more regularly than Mass Effect. This is Mass Effect. Than Paper Mario did. But that's the end of this episode, because we've been probably about 25 minutes. By we've been, I meant we've been. So it's been an interesting episode. We've found out that we suspect the Collectors are behind the attacks on human colonies, and we've been given a lot of potential leads. We've actually got currently 5 dossiers on allies to go after. We haven't got any leads on the Collectors directly, but we've got 5 squad mates, well, kind of potential team members to track down. We've got the Warlord, the Scientist, he's just called Archangel, the Convict, and one more that I'm forgetting. Mercenary. So we'll be going into those a little later. But next episode, we're going to be chatting with a few more members of the crew of the Normandy, and we'll be investigating the Normandy crash site, as in the email that Admiral Hackett sent us, which is technically DLC, but it's free DLC, which is actually forced upon you the moment you connect your console to Xbox Live, and more than 3 months after the launch of the game, which was in 2008. So, yeah, we're in that range. You were given that DLC for free, so it's kind of inescapable. So, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time. Thank you very much, and good day.